Hey everyone, we're here in BC visiting this beautiful 30-foot long tiny house on wheels. It has a layout that we absolutely love, a spacious, cozy living room. It's got a fully equipped kitchen, a big bright bathroom, and 2 full-size lofts, one with a ladder and one with a staircase. So we're going to show you around and give you a full tour. This video is sponsored by Audible. We'll tell you why we love them and give you details for a free audiobook at the end of the video. When you first come into the tiny house, you're right in the living room, and they have this nice sectional here that looks really cozy and it seats a lot of people. And another great thing is that it actually pulls out and becomes a bed. So you can actually sleep 6 people in this tiny house if you include the 2 lofts and this sofa bed. Another thing that's great about the living room is that there are a couple of windows here to let in some natural light, as well as the window in the main door. And then they have this big mirror over the couch that makes the space feel a lot bigger. Over here, they do have a little bit of wall space for a TV, which is pretty convenient. The tiny house is heated with these little electric wall panels. So there's one here on its own thermostat, one in the kitchen, and one at the other end of the tiny house in the bathroom. This is the staircase going up to the loft, and it's a really great feature in this tiny house. It's a bit more space saving than a regular staircase because it curves down here, so you don't take up as much wall space. And they've still managed to have quite a bit of storage in here, even though it's curving. So there's these 2 large cupboards here. And then they've also got storage under a couple of the steps here and down here. And then another thing that Matt and I always like to see is a big solid railing like this on the outside of the staircase so that it's safe to go up and down the stairs. And then the railing continues up into the loft so it's safe up there as well. There's also these 2 extra sitting areas here. So this lower table would maybe be great for having a laptop and a little workstation. And you can also look out the window. And then on this side, they've got this raised bar with 2 stools, which would be a great spot for eating meals. And what I really like about the fact that they were able to fit 2 sitting areas is that, let's say you have your laptop set up, you don't have to clear everything away for every meal. You could just kind of keep one as a designated eating area and then the other as a designated work area. And it just feels like you'd be shuffling things around a little bit less. And then we're coming into the kitchen here. So this is a galley style kitchen, and it has everything you would need in a kitchen. On one side, there's a 4-burner unique propane stove and oven. And then there's counter space on both sides, which is nice for food preparation. On the other side, there's an apartment-sized fridge, a large sink. There's also a microwave and even a tiny dishwasher down here. And even though there's no overhead storage in the kitchen, there is still quite a bit of storage underneath the counters for pots and pans and dishes and things like that. This is the main loft, so there's a bed here. They've got 3 windows, which is nice. You could get a cross ventilation, lots of light if you want it. And then they also have some blinds for privacy that you can pull down. I love that there's reading lights on both sides, so one person can be reading and the other person can turn theirs off. And then over here, there's a bit of space for some storage. And then each loft has a little fan like this. And the owner said that's all they really need to get a breeze going when it's hot in the summer. And for a tiny house, there's actually a pretty good amount of headspace. There's definitely enough so that you can sit up and read in bed. And the other loft is pretty much identical. The only thing that's different is that you access it with a ladder instead. And the ladder's just tucked in at the end of the kitchen counter. And then when you pull it out, you can hook it onto a rail so that it's safely secured before you climb up and down. And then the other thing that's different is that it has a little bookcase that partially closes off the space and then provides a little bit of extra shelving for storage or for decorations. So now we're at the far end of the tiny house, and this is the big bright bathroom. So it's got a sliding barn door for privacy and a latch so that you can keep it open or closed. Right here is a space that was designed so that you could put a washer dryer combo underneath if you wanted. And then there's some counter space for keeping towels or folding laundry. And one thing I really like is this rail here that you can hang hangers on so that you can dry laundry or hang clothes while you're doing your laundry process. And here's the big stand-up shower. Lots of space in here. There's a little bit of a shelf inside, so you can see you can line up all of your products there. It's got the rainwater shower head, and the door just opens here. And then having it all glassed in like this is great because it makes the bathroom feel so much bigger, even though this is really closed in most of the time. On this side of the bathroom, you'll see there's that heater I mentioned earlier, a flush toilet, and a small sink and vanity. Another cool feature of this bathroom is that the floor can be heated, which is probably very luxurious on a cold winter day. And here's one of the 2 heat recovery ventilation units that helps get fresh air into the house without losing any of the heat. The other one's at the other end of the house in the living room. And then on top of that, they also have a fan in the bathroom to exhaust any moisture. So there's a lot of ventilation options in here with the HRV, the fan, and the 2 windows, which is great because in a bathroom like this, it's great to have different options for keeping the humidity levels down. One thing they did outside to extend the living space of this tiny house is they added this massive overhang on the outside that runs the full length of the tiny house. And one bonus to that is that they have extra roof space now, so they've been able to add 17 solar panels to this house. So in the summer, the house is mainly powered with solar power, and they even have an electric car charger as well. And then in the winter, because the heat is electric, they have an extension cord running to the main house to power it in the winter. For water, they have a hose running from the main house, and to prevent the water from freezing in the winter, they've buried it. And then where the hose comes out of the ground, they've wrapped it in heat tape and also skirted the tiny house to make sure that the water doesn't freeze before getting into the house or when it's leaving. This tiny house was built by Mint Tiny Homes, and the way they insulated it is they used spray foam in the walls and the ceiling, and then a rigid foam in the floor. So overall, this tiny house manages to pack a lot of different features inside of such a tiny space. It ticks a lot of boxes for us. It's really bright in here and spacious feeling and functional. The main thing that we really like is having that big couch and a proper living room to go and hang out and relax. We think that's really important at the end of the day. We love that there's space to work because that's another thing that we do from home. And the main loft that you can safely access with the staircase is great because if you're going up and down all the time, it's just nice to have that easy way to get up and down. And then it's nice to have kind of a guest bedroom for when people want to come and stay over too. If you want to check out this tiny house, we'll put the Airbnb link in the description below. And we also want to thank Audible again for sponsoring this video. Every time we browse their selection, we're always amazed at the number of audiobooks they have, and they also have comedy, podcasts, and daily news digests. I usually listen to audiobooks when we're driving, just before bed or in the bath, and lately I've been choosing titles related to self-improvement. I just find that the little doses of encouragement and inspiration that I get from listening every day helps me feel more positive and motivated overall. Right now we're both listening to Atomic Habits by James Clear, and we love learning about the different ways that small habits can add up to big changes. If you want to try Audible for the first time, you can get a free 30-day trial, which includes 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals. You just visit audible.com/exploringalternatives, or if you're in the US, you can text Exploring Alternatives to 500-500. We'll be sure to put the link in the description for you so you can check it out. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.